welcome to episode 157 of the Carnivore Podcast. I'm Sadie, your errant host, and I will be explaining where I've been for a while shortly, but there's a lot of show to get through, so I will throw it at the end in case you don't want to pay attention to it. You can just completely ignore it. Jumping right on in, finished objects, of which I have 0 to show you. I did finish the Shaolo, but I sent it to my sister-in-law, who's currently using it. And that was basically the biggest labor of love I've done in a good while, because it was out of lace yarn. And there's Petrie. Hi, P. She just demanded fresh water, so she is a happy P. I've also got some really nice, like, curly Q bed head going on here. You're just going to have to deal with bad hair today. I'm sorry. We're also having technical lighting issues. I broke the lamp. Actually, it's not the lamp. It's the light fixture. And I don't know how I broke it. I stood up, I stretched, and I hit it. And you'd think with the amount of times my husband's hit that it would be fine. But that made it go, yeah, it won't light. And yeah, probably won't light till he gets home. I have lamps. They just do not offer enough lighting. I'm backlit today because it's sunny out. I'm hoping it stays cold. It got cold last night. I was doing dances. Love the fall. Time for all my allergies to either screw off or kick into high gear. It's harder to tell in Minnesota. I'm not as used to it. See, I know in spring I get allergies because I'm allergic to snow mold, but I don't really know. Like, I haven't been here long enough. I haven't experienced enough summer-winter shifts to be aware of what's going to set me off or not. Hopefully nothing big in the fall. Usually I'm okay in the fall. Like 1 or 2 things that'll get me in the fall. But I do have works in progress. One I can't show you, because it's something I'm designing for Marigail's club for this October. But the other things that have seen work are things you have not seen, so yay! Or no, you've seen one, you haven't seen the other. You've seen 2, but you haven't seen 1. Okay, there is at least one thing you have not seen before. In my adorable bag from Awilda. See, I was adding an E. Did I say it right this time? Who designed the Meet Me in Montauk shawl, which is now available for purchase, just FYI, everybody. I have the Clincher shawl by somebody. Hold on, and I can tell you. I got my iPad here. This is possibly the most annoying part of any podcast. I should have written it down. I suck. It's the Clincher bandana by Ash Kearns. I'm going to say Kearns. It looks like Kearns, but it's probably Kearns. So I am using Cyborg Craft Room in the Asocolate base in the Space Oddity colorway. I am getting really close. I am getting really close to where I can do the cool part. The cool part, which... blow it up so you can't see the pattern. That cool little loopy-doo part, I'm almost there. I'm getting there. And the loopity-doo is going to be in some Spare Volmice in green, which may or may not be the Julia Tompt colorway. I don't remember what this is. It was a club, I believe. It was the club yarn, and I made socks out of it. I made the reptilian socks, and this is how much I have left over, so I'm going to be using that. I figure it'll be a nice contrast. There isn't any green in here, I don't think. I think there's like the vaguest notion that green may be in here somewhere, but I think it's more of a yellow melding. It's a really awesome, highly variegated colorway, and I of course recommend all the Cyborg Craft Room stuff to you, as she is awesome. and now available at the Simply Sock Company, I believe. If Instagram is to be believed. That's what I get for following Instagram. See, I am alive. So that's in there. It's probably not going to be done by the next time I record, which will hopefully be next week. But I cursed myself last time saying it would be the next week, and it wasn't. So I'm just going to say I'm going to podcast when I can from now on. I'm going to try and do it every week, but again, I'll explain later. The other thing, yeah, I have a very messy house. I'm not sure how much of that you saw. Yeah, there's my water bottle, and there's my cat. I think that's Beetle. Another thing on the needles is the Treek by, I have to go all the way back to the beginning. Is there even a good picture of this? There really isn't on the design page. Like, there's no way to show it to you very prettily, but kind of there's the top, and kind of there's the back detail. That's what you get. Sorry. It's the best I can do for you. I'm doing that out of, oh, and that was on a 3.75 millimeter needle, I believe, or a 4. Whatever the pattern called for. I am knitting the Treek out of Highland Handmade's Butternut DK in the Ruined Blue colorway. It's 375 yards, 85/15 Polwar silk. I have gotten, I don't know that you'd say very far, but I feel like I've gotten far. I was really zooming, and then I just completely lost all motivation to do anything that had, like, patterning to it. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I hit a point in the last little bit where I had no knitting mojo whatsoever. None. Which is also why I didn't record, because it's like, look, I did 3 rows. Aren't you happy? But I did get, this is really hard to show, FYI. This is on, okay, these are my 4s, so the 3.75s must be on the other, on the shawl. This is on US 4. I got the shoulders done, and this is the top-down ziggurat technique, so you don't have any seams. Which means that it's like 80 times more confusing. And I felt like doing something 80 times more confusing, and now I think I'm an idiot for doing something 80 times more confusing for a Rhinebeck sweater, because I don't know that it's going to get done. I almost feel like I should pick up something and knit something else that I will actually accomplish. But I don't know. So the sleeves, well, and I'm almost past the hard part, so I feel like there's, it's done in steps, right? So there's what, 7 or 8 steps just to get to this point. But the neckline is done. That's a really poor representation. The neckline is done. The seams, let's see if I can get a seam in shot there. There. That is the top of the shoulder seam, and the shoulder, for lack of a better word, gusset. So they are done. So now really all I have to do is knit until I divide the arms off, and then knit until it's at the bottom, and then do the arms. We all know how well I do with arms, so yeah. I don't know. Maybe it'll be my Rhinebeck knitting as opposed to my Rhinebeck sweater. But it's, so far so good. The color is very pretty. It's not going to show, there we go. Kind of a purpley blue with a little hint of pink. Woo! I have to hold everything really close, otherwise you won't be able to see it. Sorry. So there's that. It's seen work, not a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie to you and say I've done a lot of work on it. It's not seen a lot of work, just not. There's too, I got that far and I was like, can't brain today. I have the dumb. Except, I got this ebook, right? Which I'm going to do a little review for you momentarily. But it just so happened to coincide with the fact that I wanted to cast on a pair of socks that was semi-easy. I wanted a little bit of a pattern, but not a pattern I had to think too much about. And I wanted it to look good in variegated yarn because I have all this variegated yarn, right? I was like, I'm not doing another stripe, and I'm not finishing my stripe sock. So I'm just taking a break from stripes because I dye them a lot, and right now I hit my wall, and I put all of my variegated sock yarns into brown paper bags, and I taped them up, and I threw them into a Rubbermaid container. I won't tell you how big the Rubbermaid container is, but let's just say if you saw it, you would probably tell me to stop buying variegated sock yarn, which is not going to happen, just so you know. And I had my mom pick one of the bags because I didn't feel like deciding what color I was going to knit, and she picked this one out. And this is the Poison Ivy colorway. And I'm not sure, it's by Leading Man Fiber Arts, and I don't remember what base it's on. It's the 80/20 Superwash Merino Nylon. I want to say Showstopper, but that's probably not right. Steven, you have permission to hit me upside the back of the head. It's not Dramaturge, because that's their sport weight. Well, I'll tell you next time, because I'm not done a pair yet. But, so I started. And Frankie decided to chew off the end, if you can see here. Frankie decided that, so I had to pull some yarn out of Frankie, and that was not fun. But I can attest to you that the Leading Men Fiber Art is very tasty to four-legged felines. Very tasty indeed. So this is the Mouchoir, Mouchoir, in the top-down version by, I have to go to page 1 now, give me a sec. Laura Neal. N-E-E-L, not N-E-A-L or N-I-E-L. N-E-E-L. In the Sock Architecture book. And it's a very simple knit purl pattern. It's enough that it will keep you interested, and I screwed up the pattern once, but whatever. It'll keep you interested, and it'll give you some texture, but it also works really well with a nice highly variegated sock. And I've got the heel done, and I'm on the gusset. The heel is the flaps done, the turn's done, and I'm on the gusset. I am actually following the pattern to you can see it there. It's like the little knit purl zigzags. I'm actually following the pattern to the T because I've never done an Eye of Partridge heel before. I know you're like, you knit how many socks? I have always been, I'm a one-trick pony. I find something I like and I stick with it. I'm not sure if you've noticed this, but I do a slip stitch heel on pretty much any sock, no matter what it calls for. There are a few variants I do, like I do the afterthought heel. If there's a pattern heel, sometimes I'll do that. But I've done a short row heel. But for the most part, I just stick with what I like. If there's a heel flap, I go with my slip stitch heel, and this is with a kerchief turn or something, a handkerchief turn. I can tell you momentarily when I review the book. I will tell you. It's an Uber triangle is what it is. Hold on. Let's see if I can get it to show up. There we go. Like this point here, like it's very pointy. Usually mine are turnier. Maybe if I hold it like that. Yeah, there you go. See how it's really pointy right here? Usually mine are not as pointy. I'm not sure how this is going to affect the fit, but I'm willing to try it. It also has a circular toe, which I have never done. So I'm excited to do that. So far this sock is knitting up nice. I am doing it on, what are these? US 1 2.25 millimeter needles. They're Sock Rockets, so it's written on the thingy, which is pretty much worn off, but I can kind of see it somewhere. Where are you? Right there. Very lightly. Poor things. They go through the ringer in my house. Like, I mean, I don't know how many pairs I'm going to go through. And so I got this at SSK. It needed to go in a bag. I got it at SSK, and my mother picked the Dia de los Muertos from Tangerine's Designs. Because how can you go wrong? Right? You can't. Now, so those of what I've been knitting on. I'm sorry, not a lot of knitting has been done in my household. I have done some spinning. I finished the acorns, which is very sturdy. Very sturdy. That's the end right there. This is a very heavy, as you can see, overplied. I haven't soaked it yet. I just wanted to play around. It is Cordale, 117 yards of a Navajo ply that I long drawed. Spinning this long draw, it's been a while, and I was trying to get it thicker, which was my goal. It is a thicker yarn than I'm used to. In some places it even borders on bulky. And it's in the Acorns colorway from the Spunky Eclectic Club. And then I had to stop long drawing for the time being. And I pulled this out. This has been just like saved for a while because it's so special and awesome. And you cannot feel it from where you are. But if you could, if you had field vision, you would be rubbing this all over your face and body parts. This is a Dripping Fiber Studio in Merino BFL Silk, 4.1 to 4.2 ounces in the Shire colorway. It was drum carded bats of gloriousness, and I got 500 yards of a light fingering. It's so pretty. It has not yet been washed and thwacked, but it's so pretty. It's got a little bit of a halo. I assume that's coming from the BFL, but I love it. And lastly, from the spinning department, I just finished plying this. Right about there. This is the, it's a darker purple right here. It looks kind of black. This is the Onyx to Crimson Gradient by Fiber Optic Yarns. This is an 80% merino, 20% silk, 4 ounces. I got 379 yards of a Navajo 3-ply because of course I wanted to keep the gradient. It is also very soft and awesome. My house smells like pumpkins thanks to Wolf Farms. Oh crap. I got the most gorgeous shawl from Dawn, Wolf Farms, and it is currently not near my computer. I will have to show it to you next time. I am glad it's cold so that I can wear it, although I did post it on Instagram and Facebook. Very few people on my Facebook though. Usually I use that primarily for family, so there's very few knitterly people on there. But I Instagrammed and tweeted it. It's very pretty. It's the Sand and Sea, I believe, or Land and Sea, by Laura Linneman, and it's out of Unwind. It's so pretty. I should have brought it. I'm a bad person. Let's see, I was trying to remember that I have a book to review for you, which I will now get into. And I will have one to give away, so I'll open a thread for that. Probably not until tomorrow. But I will get there. And apparently I have a mitten pattern that has no picture on it. Okay, whatever. So, occasionally Cooperative Press, that is who put this out, will send me books to review. And there are some I get really giddy about, like the Subversive Socks, completely giddy. This is another one where I saw it and I was like, I had seen some previews because of course Laura Neal is on my Instagram feed because there are like a million people on my Instagram feed. And so I'd seen some of the stuff coming out and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. You know, like, oh, that's interesting. And then you forget about it and you go about your day. And then I got this book in my inbox, which is Sock Architecture. I There we go. Heels, toes, and techniques for knitting awesome socks with choose from 17 sock patterns or design your own. That is showing up beautifully. I'm gonna run with that. I'm gonna run with the fact that it's looking really awesome. Now, it is very rarely that you will find I get giddy about a sock book anymore. I've got so many of them. And I still get giddy about the older ones, like, I mean, the Wendy Johnson ones. Although I don't do toe-up socks very often, I have them both and they're gorgeous. And the Cookie A socks, which may never get knit in my lifetime, love them, still giddy about them. Cat Bordy, drives me crazy, still love her to death. So there are sock books where I would just go and like pick a sock, like Socktopus. And there are sock books where it's like if I'm feeling challenged or if I'm feeling like I want something meaty, I go to it. And so it's I've got the bookends already. So I don't usually get giddy about sock books unless there's something like, you know, swear words in the cuff or a steampunk theme like Needles and Artifice. This one, however, again, I was iffy on the cover. If you're iffy on the cover, go right into it, because covers don't really say jack shit. I probably shouldn't say shit, should I? Whatever. Anywho, so you go into it. What made me happiest about this is section 3 and 4, I believe. 3 and 4. Yes, 3 and 4. Because from page 18, and I'll show you the table of contents because that's not illegal. 3 and 4, 3 is top-down socks and 4 is toe-up socks. But between the pages of 18 and 47, 48, 49, 50, 50. We'll say between those pages because the patterns technically start on page 50. So we'll go from 18 to 50, which is over 30 pages. It's just techniques on various things. Like I said, I don't normally do whatever heel is called for. Usually I augment it or what have you. This has all the possible top-down and toe-up heels you could ever want or think of. And it's just the heels. Like you get some background, which is really nice. The history. And I like history because I'm an anthropologist. That's very nice. The how to knit a sock that fits. Again, we've probably all seen this before. And it's all very informative. Like, I mean, if you're a beginner and you want to jump right on in, this is like the perfect book, but then it's going to ruin you for a few other books because you're going to expect a certain... If you need something to help you understand these books and things, this is a good book, but it may ruin you for other books. I'm just saying, if you expect this kind of detail, that it's very rarely found in a sock book. Usually you get patterns, and you get a couple picture tutorials, and you won't get this level of technique. There's a darning section. So each heel she wrote it, Laura Neal. Each heel that is discussed is not only discussed, but it's knit. And I like that it's, here, I'm going to blow this up so I can just show you. This is and she tells you what it is. This is a top-down eye of partridge flap over 32 stitches, divided for a square heel. Each heel is shown in a picture, so you know what she's talking about. And she goes into, okay, excerpt. Sometimes the very back portion of the heel can look baggy. This usually evens out with wear. If you don't like extra fabric, you can add some slip stitches on the first few right side rows to tighten it up. Oh, the half handkerchief heel. That is what I am doing on the socks I'm knitting. And she takes a much nicer picture of it than I do. But each heel is laid out in this way for both the top down and toe up. And let me just tell you, I've never thought about heels quite as much as I have reading this. but you actually can read. There are very few books you can sit down and actually read an entire chapter and go, that was very thought-provoking. Unless it's the Knitter's Book of Fleece, or the Knitter's Book of Fiber, or the Knitter's Book of Wool, or Yarn, or what have you, or the Fleece and Fiber Source Book. It's not, I don't sit down and read through a Cookie book. I look at the pictures, I may read the descriptions, but you get what I'm saying. A gusseted afterthought heel, step by step. Just think about that. Just think about that. Pictographically. Like, the sheer, there's like 50 pages. 50 pages. And toes. I have never thought about toes this much. I don't do toe-up socks very often. Like, seriously, I don't. You know I don't. And there are so many toes. Sideways toes, wedge toes, wide toes, round toes, swirl toes, toe-up sock toes, wide toes, sideways, medium wedge, swirl, short row. Like, okay, I knew there was this much cake in the world. I didn't know there were this many toe choices. And heels from the top down and how they're going to affect everything and how to do them. And I just think it's genius. Furthermore, so then there's some stuff about the general notes of the pattern. I'm going to go back to the front because now I've gone way too far and I need to tell you some more stuff. So, once you've read through the toe up and toe, or top down and toe up various things for heels, gussets, the Fearless Jedi heel entertains me on a level I can't even explain. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the heel. It's the fact that the word Jedi is in there. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, there's that many toes, flap and gusset heels, etc. For all the patterns, there's a lovely page that's, I'm gonna say 3 or 4 pages in. Right after the index, there's a visual pattern index, which is lovely. And it will tell you such marvelous things as that these are toe up and top down. Most of these, there is a toe up and top down version. And they may look a little different, but so that one and that one, these are the same. But if you look, one is top down and one is toe up. Focus. Focus. It's not going to focus. But one is toe up and one is top down. So you can actually knit. I think there's only one that has no toe up or top down, and that's the adjoin. Everything else has been worked out for you to be either or. How ingenious is that? Just think about that for a minute. How many of us hate converting sock patterns, or will knit only one kind and won't even look at the other kind, or will do the other kind because everyone else is doing it, but then we have to convert it and we're kind of bitter about it? You know, how many of us do that? I do that all the time because I'm lazy. And if I'm going to pay for a sock, I want to do it the way I want to do it. So there's the mouchoir. You can do it toe up or top down. It's the purple one. Really what I've enjoyed so much about this is the fact that not only does it have cute patterns, because the patterns are cute. I could show you the patterns. You can go look at them on Ravelry, which I'm sure you can do easily. I could give you an overview of each of them. They all have their own benefits. I think they'd all work really well. Aside from the fact that they're all in solids for this, they look really good in variegated or stripy yarns. They're good patterns. There's nothing wrong with the patterns. I love the fact that they're written top down and toe up, and that is really the big selling point. What's even more important about this book, or what I think would be the most important factor of this book, is just the sheer amount of information you get, which makes it worth every stinking penny, which I don't know what that is, but I'm pretty sure it's probably under 20 bucks. It's usually under 20 bucks. And you can download it off of Ravelry, as always. It's put out by Cooperative Press. The author's name is Laura Neal. And if you knit a lot of socks, and you've ever thought about altering things for yourself, or just... I didn't even know there was that many heels and toes. I really didn't. And maybe this will alter the way I do things. I don't know if it will, but I find it very interesting that I can knit all of these socks toe up and top down and learn all of these new heels and toes, because they're all done with different heels and toes. Like I said, the one I'm knitting right now has a new to me heel, a new to me heel turn, and a new to me toe. That's 3 new things. So I'd say to pick it up just for the information. If you're really into sock knitting, it's going to be a really great book. If you're looking to start sock knitting, it's also going to be a really great book because it just has that much information. And now we move forward. A little bit of enabling, but only because I knit that shawl. I knit the shawl for Knitting in Color, so I got some swag for it. I got the shawl kit, which is the hot pink to black. I think she changed it. I think it was fuchsia to black last time. In the Superwash Merino Nylon Selena. So now I have both of those, both of her color kits, and I will never be at a loss. And then I got this, which has some bright green to it too. This is the Ultra Light at Night in the, I think it's Superfine Superwash Merino. Don't quote me, but it's gorgeous and I can't wait to spin it. And if you've held on with me this long and you don't, or I have one more thing to show you. I was going to say, if you don't want to hear what's been up in my life, then don't stay, but stay for a second because I'll show you this. I made, and these are up in the shop too, if you think they're cute and you want to pick one up. I was playing around with some artistic canvassing. I'm totally flipping you off, I know. And these are just so cute. Woo. These are the 2x2s. I just did some big ones too, but those aren't up in the shop yet. These are the 4x4s. And they're very abstract and cute. They're based off of knitting. You can see the stitches. I just really like them. So if you're looking for a little decor for your sewing room, or your knitting room, or your office, really anything. I don't know if I get it better that way or that way. Hard to say. Those are up in the shop. I had a lot of fun doing those, so I may do more. I may keep a bunch and never tell you about it. And I may do more. Who knows? Okay, now you can go. If you don't really care what's been keeping me up and down. Let me take a sip. One of the things is that I have tendinitis in my pectoral muscle. If you recall, I have had bad pectoral muscle issues before from shoveling too much snow. Now there is no snow, however, I've done something horribly wrong with it, and aside from the fact that I thought I was dying, and I was not dying, but I thought I was dying. And it has subsequently caused problems with my ladies. I can't warp yarn for 4 to 6 weeks. So I am almost done those 4 weeks. It's been hard because I can't lift, I can't do anything that would be strenuous to my chest. So, and I live alone. So the groceries have to come up via me anyway, no matter how many trips I take or how dominant on my left I've been trying to be because it's on the right side. If you're wondering why there's been no shop update, I am going to start dyeing some variegates to put in there, but there will probably not be any stripes until next month. And I'm sorry, I can't warp. I literally cannot warp the yarn right now, sadly. I have a few progressive skeins that I had warped prior to this whole thing, but the long and short of it is I'm not taking chances with my health. I've done that enough already. The other thing is my mother had to come back because I was booked in for an EDG, or an EGD, which is esophageal gastroduodenal scope, which is a nice fun way of saying they shoved something down my throat and took a bunch of pictures. And I have really bad GRD, which is gastric reflux disease, which I already knew I had, but when I came to Americaland, as I've likened to calling it, when I came to Americaland, there was a big change in my coverage since, you know, it's free in Canada and I don't ever have to worry about how much it costed or who I had to see. You know, you just show them your status card and your Sask Health card and you're on your way. Yeah, it's a little different here. So the prescription I needed and that I had been on for several years was far too expensive. We're talking in the 4-digit range. So they tried me on something different, which ended up doing some serious damage to my innards and causing me to not be able to lie down without having episodes where I would literally choke on acid. I know it's not pleasant sounding at all, and it really is not pleasant to be in. I actually thought I was going to die. Again, a lot of dying going on. So I've been having these episodes for a while. Got angry enough after one of them, because it burns your throat something fierce, and it would get into my windpipe, so I would actually feel it as I was coughing it up in my windpipe, and that just makes it even worse. So I actually got peeved enough that I went to my doctor and I said, just give me this drug so that I can fix this. So they gave it to me, and it had gone generic in the time frame of a year, and so now I'm back on it. Well, it's not healing it fast enough, and so they've doubled me up on it, which is not fun because it's still a triple-digit medication. Whatever. You'll pay what you have to pay to be able to sleep, and I couldn't. I have not been able to sleep laying down for the greater portion of my time here, which nobody knew about because I am not one to bitch and moan. What freaked me out is that they were starting to tell me that it could be other things that start with C, which was really worrisome, which ultimately led to me backing away from the podcast and everything. And of course my husband's not here, so my mother had to come back here to drive me to and from this appointment, because you have to have, because they put you under, you have to have someone to drive you to and from, and I didn't have anyone I could. Who can you call on? Well, Jack doesn't drive and can't get time off. There was no one available that my husband knows, and Christy just had a baby. And Christy's my other friend here, so not a lot of choice for that kind of stuff. And so my mother did take family leave and came down and took care of my sorry butt. And then after all of that, because I wasn't doing enough, I quit smoking. And y'all know I'm a smoker. I've been a smoker for a long time, but they said, listen, it'll help your stomach. And I was like, okay, fine. Because it was like coffee or cigarettes, and I was like, I'm not giving up coffee. Not happening. So I am almost 2 weeks in. This is my Band-Aid covering my giant patch. I'm not a happy camper, but I really enjoyed it. But it's almost 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks on Monday, and today is, what, Friday? Yes, today's Friday, so it'll be 2 weeks on Monday. I have injured my tongue chewing gum, because that's how much gum I have chewed. Not the nicotine stuff, because you can't have it on this, but, you know, I have like 80 different kinds of gum, and they're all fruit flavored. They're not mint flavored, because that will hurt me. But, so, just so you know, the stripes will come back as soon as I can. I can't right now, because I have to make sure that this pec thing heals so it doesn't turn into tendinosis or become herniated. And those two options are a lot worse than just everyone waiting, which sucks because this is my peak time and it's my Tim Burton time, and I'm sorry, and I hope you forgive me. This is also why I don't do pre-orders, because if I had done some sort of pre-order, I'd be screwed, you'd be screwed, and we'd all be angry. So better that it just takes a little time right now, and the other thing being the whole stomach problem. Since they bumped up my prescription to double dosing, I have been able to actually get sleep, which is amazing. Now, if I can just get over the fact that it's been 3 months since my husband's been home, maybe it'll start getting better. It is getting better. It's been a rough month or two. Basically, since I've been home from SSK, it's been rough. And it's probably going to start getting better now, but it took a while, and I'm sorry for that. I just figured I'd explain it. And I hope I'll see you next week. If I don't see you next week, I'll see you the week after. I'm going to try and record more often. Again, this is very subjective. I'm working on it. And the best we can do is accept that, right? Like Buddhist meditation junk here. Like, we just have to be the best people we can be and accept what we have. So, I will see you when I see you. I hope you have a great time knitting and spinning and whatever else you choose to do. And I am Blue Ruin on Ravelry. I am Sadie Ruin on Twitter and Instagram. And feel free to add me and join our Rav group. Bye.